But don't worry, Joyce Barry is covering for you. However, when you can tear yourself away, I would look in on Goldschmidt. We just had another incident in the shower.
Is she all right?
As well as a total neurotic can be.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Joan, the poor woman's facing deportation back to East Germany. Even you surely can understand how frightened she must be.
Well, you're full of surprises lately, aren't you?
What do you mean?
Well, it's just that you have been blowing a little hot and cold lately. I'm sure the prisoners are as confused as I am.
What a peculiar thing to say.
Well, in the last week or two, you have been pretty strict with the women.
What?
Even I've been surprised at some of the penalties you've dealt out.
I don't think I've heavied anyone who didn't deserve it. Anyway, I must go and relieve Joyce. See you later.
Here you go, Bobby. I'll fix it for you.
Thanks.
You know, I reckon if I ever get out of here, I'd like to open a repair shop. Hey, we could be partners. I reckon you'd pick up mechanics real quick. What do you say?
Well, I thought you'd gone right off me. You've really been picking on me lately.
Oh, well, I didn't mean nothing. We're mates. Same as always, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? I mean, yesterday she's sure that Bobby tried to knock off Pixie. Today they're the best of friends.
Well, she's just figured out what we all figured out. Bobby couldn't possibly have done it.
You know what I've been thinking? What if it was meant for Bobby? It was Bobby's dorm. I mean, maybe Pixie just went in there at the wrong time.
Makes sense in theory. But who the hell would mistake Pixie for Bobby?
Yeah, you got a point, I guess.
Don't worry, we'll get the bitch.
Morning, ladies. Mara, Judy, Governor wants to see you.
Cass, could you take over the press, love?
Oh, yeah, sure, Mara. Hey, I reckon I figured out how to go at Pix.
You're kidding, who?
Yeah. Well, I've got to check something out first. You want to help?
Sure.
Okay, meet me in the shower block before lunch.
Oh, you're on.
I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear I have been authorized to make a firm offer on your pay increase. A 30% rise retrospective to the beginning of the strike, and of course they agree to the work scheme and open days.
It's a very generous offer, Mrs. Davidson, but I'm afraid the women won't accept anything less than 50%.
And they're being very foolish.
Yeah, but we're only representing the women. We have to go with their overall vote.
I must say I'm rather surprised. I was given to understand that you would be very amenable to the department's offer.
Oh, you were you? It seems the women made the right decision after all.
I only talked to you off the record because I was hoping you'd get the women to understand that they jeopardize other opportunities if they push too hard for the money.
It doesn't alter the fact, Mrs. Reynolds, that we were primed to accept the department's proposal. Now, I don't think that's good enough.
It sure as hell isn't. And as far as I'm concerned, the answer is no, and these negotiations are over.
You are being very short-sighted, Myra. Now let us all calm down and talk this through again.
There is nothing more to talk about, Mrs. Davidson. We want 50%, and unless we get it, the strike is back on.
Yeah, and the department had better do some pretty fast thinking, too, because otherwise the prisoners will be out on strike in every detention center in this state.
I'd like to report back to the women with the governor's permission.
Yes, of course. Take them back, please, Mrs. Radcliffe.
The department is not going to like this one little bit.
For which I believe you can take full credit, Mrs. Davidson.
You mean it was a setup?
Yeah, and we were supposed to jump at the offer.
Rotten pigs. Bet you they wouldn't pay anything if they could get away with it. Well, what are we going to do now?
We stop work. We're back on strike. Cass, would you go get word to the others?
Sure, Myra. See you later, eh?
Oh, no worries.
I reckon we should have stuck with the 30% while the going was good.
You were one of the ones that wanted the 50%, remember?
Yes, and you better stick with us or else.
Look, I'm not backing down. It's just that the others were already grizzling about losing pay, and now they're going to lose more.
Well, tell them if they back down now, they're going to lose out all round. I'm going for 50% and all the other benefits. And if they don't like it, they can come and see me.
Well, according to Rachel, her old man will be out ordering the wedding cast. I think I'll chance it. She's a nice lady. Fantastic cook.
Oh, doesn't sound like she needs her dad to promote her.
No, she doesn't. Well, I better get to it.
Right.
Morning, Governor.
Morning, Rick. The department's finally bowed to the inevitable.
Well, that's a relief. Pity they let it get as far as they did.
I think their pocket was the main consideration. Also, they'll have enough on their plates now with the Geldschmidt deportation problem. Anyway, whatever made them change their minds, this is one announcement I'm going to enjoy making. Attention, please. All prisoners are to remain in their work areas after the morning end of work bell. Mrs. Davidson will be coming to address each section about the strike issue. That's all, thank you, ladies.
But if they won't believe you, Jude, well, what is Mrs. Davidson going to talk about?
She'll probably tell us what naughty girls we are and cut our buy-up for the next 6 months.
Well, they can't stick us all in the pan. It'll be standing room only. Well, I'll listen as long as they don't try and soft soap us again.
Oh, Mrs. Reynolds wouldn't do that. I'm sure there was some sort of mistake.
Yeah, it certainly was on their part.
Hey, Pix.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm okay. It was a bit scary for a while, though.
Some of the others reckon that I did it, but you know I didn't.
Of course not. But you're in my cell, remember? Has Cass said anything about it?
She was a bit strange at first. And she thought I did it too.
Well, is she still staying there?
Everything's apples now. Cass reckons she's got it figured out. I'm nicking out now to talk to her. When we've worked it out, we'll tell Judy and Myra.
Oh, but you can't do that because, well, Mrs. Davidson's coming to talk to us.
Just tell them I've gone to the
Oh, but
loo.
Bobby can't.
Oh, sorry.
Where are you going, Mitchell? You were told to stay in your work area.
Oh, I'm just going to the toot, Mrs. M. I won't be a tick. It's real urgent.
All right, we'll come straight back.
Hey, this, Mrs. Reynolds.
Right, let's get this over. Good afternoon, ladies.
Mrs. Davidson?
I know this is your recreation time, so I shall come straight to the point. I've spoken to the department, and they have asked me to put forward their new offer. First of all, they have agreed to the extra work activities, and naturally you will retain any profit from such work.
Pay attention, Aunt.
The monthly open day has also been approved to give you extra contact with your families, which you requested.
Oh, how wonderful. I wonder if I could invite Mr. Schumann, Mrs. Reynolds. I mean, he did say he looked on me as a daughter.
We'll discuss personal requests later, Mason.
And finally, you will receive a pay rise of 50%. Ladies, Mrs. Reynolds has campaigned very strongly on your behalf, and I expect you to repay her efforts with your full support and loyalty.
And you've got no worries about that, Mrs. Davidson.
Thanks, Mrs. Reynolds.
Thank you, ladies. I'll leave you to it.
Right, ladies, everyone can move out. Yes, it is.
Cass?
Geez, what took you so long?
Sorry, had to dodge a couple of screws. Well, hurry up. I told Mrs. Reynolds I'd only be a tick.
Where's the gov now?
Oh, it's all right. She's in the laundry with Mrs. Davidson. They're talking about the strike. So come on, what'd you find out about Pixie? Do you reckon it was Francis or one of that lot?
Oh, I know who done it, Bobby. I know how to make sure it doesn't happen anymore.
Well, what I can't get over with is how quickly they changed their tune.
Oh, wouldn't need Einstein to work out that the strike had cost him a hell of a lot more than bringing our pay up to scratch.
Bloody typical, though, trying to hold out on us.
Yeah.
We certainly, eh?
Let's hope they don't find an excuse to take away what little we've gained.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside, and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But the sun and rain are prisoners too when morning comes around. Last night I dreamed we were together, sharing all the love we'd known, till I had to face the nightmare of waking up alone. On the inside the roses grow, they don't mind the stony ground. too. When morning comes around.